Indira Indi Turner has learned some harsh lessons in life. But the most devastating of all was being loyal to the wrong person can leave you lost and empty. With a selfish ex who refuses to be the man she needed and, more importantly, the man she deserved, Indy decided to distance herself from the past with a fresh start and positive mind. Torrance T.J. Addison very controlled world was jolted into a chaotic storm of indifference. He spent the last 6 years reevaluating who he was versus who everybody expected him to be. With a newfound lease on life, TJ discovers that a pint sized beauty with a crown full of hair and warm brown eyes just might be the missing piece to complete his life's puzzle. After an embarrassing first encounter, both Indy and TJ realize that life has a way of handing you what you never knew you wanted while providing exactly what you need. Hello, my beautiful people, and welcome back. So, this episode is part two of the, what is it, Heart's Consent little mini series that Casey Mills has going on. So, last episode in what's her name? Skylar's story. Um, I talked a little bit about TJ, but I didn't mention him too much because he has his own book. So it's like I didn't want to tell his whole story, then come this week and tell it all over again. So I think, what did I mention last week? That he was on a track to be just like his dad. He was really like going to be TJ Torrance Jr., be exactly like his dad. But when it got time for him to take the bar, it was just too much pressure. It was too much weight on him. And he attempted suicide. And with him attempting suicide, like while he was in the hospital, his dad came to him, like he called him weak. And after that, like excuse me, he wasn't looked at the same. So he distanced himself from his family, like, y'all all expected me to be this great being and, to do law. And when I couldn't handle it, he basically felt like threw away. And so now he goes to therapy, and the book like starts with him talking to his therapist and just how he feels after the fact and what he's doing with his life, because it's like he doesn't have a job. He's not, I don't want to say he's not doing anything, but he has a job down at what they call like the what would consider to be the YMCA, and he offers out free advice because technically he's not a lawyer. Um, and he just does that to like pass his days. So his therapist suggests that he goes to this spa to get a massage, and it's just like he's looking at her like she's crazy because one of his um what do I want to call it? Like one of his conditions is he doesn't like to be touched. He cannot he doesn't want another person to touch him. So it's like, why would you send me to get a massage and I don't want nobody like really within like 3 feet of me? Um oh, I don't know how I could forget this. So because the therapist basically wants to get him to admit that his attempted suicide was basically half his dad and then half a former girlfriend he used to have. Now, him and the girl, like they met on their own, they were in love, everything was going great until he came to her father's house, like she was trying to introduce him to her dad, and the dad took one look at him, and he looked just like his daddy. And Torrance Senior, he defended the man who killed uh I forgot her name, the girlfriend's mother. So it's like, even though you didn't do it, you are related to the person that basically like let their family members kill or go free. So that also ended their relationship because the the girlfriend told him that, like, I love you, but I feel like being with you is betraying my mother, and I can't do that. Um, so that all happened around the same time. So, and then we're introduced to Indi, who she works at the spa, and she's having a little bit of relationship trouble where she broke up with her boyfriend and she's trying to get him to stay away from her. Like, don't come by my place. Don't, don't call me, none of that. Because she's actually late for work this day because he's outside her apartment. So she has to slink out the back just so like he doesn't see her and she doesn't have to talk to him, which I find fucking crazy. I'm like, I don't care how persistent you are. If I say I don't want you bothering me, you're not going to bother me. But I get people are just nicer than me. They're think about people feelings and shit that I don't do. Because I was like, when I first read this, I was like, are you serious? Like, you having to slink out your own place and like duck and dodge a motherfucker that you don't want to be bothered with? Please. Um, and so of course, like she gets to work and TJ is her client. So when she walks in, she's like, greeting him, trying to talk him through what's going to happen. And he lets her know, like, I don't like being touched, like, basically. And they both got the same idea, like, so why are you here? Because it's like was it 80 minutes? It's like an 80-minute session. So it's just like, what the fuck we gonna do? So she got the stones, she's supposed to place them all over his body. And ironically, like, he hasn't had an erection in so long. Like, he's like, I look at women, I see women, but nothing happens down there. And so now he sees her and she's doing the massage, and he's had an erection for the first time in a long time because she tells him to turn over, and he's like, I can't do that. And it's like, as a masseuse, not to say that it's okay, but it's like, that's literally natural and a body's reaction. As long as, you're not trying to cross the line, they're not offended by it. Um, but he leaves. I think they not even halfway through the session. So she's like, did I do something wrong? I can change it. I promise. If I overstepped anyway, I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, it was fine. But like I said, I really don't like people touching me. So for me to even have been in here this long, you know, it was okay. Cool. Bye. And so later on, like before she leaves, her boss calls her into the office and was like, you had such and such as a client today. And she's like, yeah, did he say anything? Did I do anything? Whatever, whatever. And she's like, no, it's fine. And then come to find out, he booked her like all her available days. So he was willing to come back. And it was crazy because it's just like, I never do da 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 da. And he starts doing all those things. And so him and it was cute because it's like he came back for like the next session and asked her out to dinner. And it was kind of really awkward at first because it's like, for somebody who hasn't like had to quote unquote entertain the opposite sex in such a long time, he was kind of rusty and trying to spit game or whatever. But they go out, grab a bite to eat, and they have fun. They flirting. It's real cute. And I love this book for the sole purpose of it shows what I like to think is real mental health. It's like, those days and those thoughts are still going to be there, but you also try to grab a little bit of happiness in between. Because at the point where he's inviting her back to his place and cooking her dinner and telling her like basically what his story is and what happened to him, he's like, I'm in a much better place than what I was, but please don't think that it's gone. Like basically that's gone. Like I still have thoughts, like there are still some dark days, but it's not all the time like how it used to be. And of course, Skylar, because she feel like they the best of friend, like they're the closer siblings. She still call him all the time, all of his business. Want to know who the girl is, like who taking your attention away from me, even though she pregnant with a fiance. And Gray had to tell her a couple times, like, girl, mind your business. Let that man be a man. And I don't know if I mentioned it last episode because I kind of forgot what I said. I ain't gonna lie. Um, I think it was like once or twice, Gray had to tell her, like, I understand that's your brother, and I understand, you found him like that, and whoop de whoop, whatever, whatever. But he's still alive, and you're gonna have to let that man be a man, back up off him. And so, um, at one point, Skylar and Sailor, like, they outside of Indy's job, and they like, come eat with us. And she's like, nah, I really don't want to do that. And they basically tell her she ain't got no choice. And they go to Gray's Bar and Grill, and they're like, we just want to get to know you, introduce ourselves, basically like trying to feel her out to see if she good enough for their brother. But it's real sweet. It's like they're not doing a lot, they're not doing the most. It's basically like, we just want to know you. And then while they're out together, TJ actually calls her. And I think Skylar took the phone and like put it on speaker. And he like, man, what the fuck y'all doing? Y'all gonna make the girl never want to talk to me again. Like, mind y'all damn business. And like he's saying all that, not knowing that she can hear, because he thinks like they pass on the phone back and forth. They're like just listening to their ear. And they're like, you on speaker. She heard everything you said. And he's like, man, fuck. But she finds it cute. She's like, I'm glad you got people that care about you and that's looking out for you, because Indy has nobody but her grandmother who she goes to visit that's in a home. And she also has a best friend who also is pregnant. Is she pregnant? Yeah, she's pregnant, and she has a fiance. I believe he's her fiance. Yeah. So she's like, to see you in your family element, I love that. And his dad even comes around, like he started going back over the house for family dinners. And the dad, like, he apologized. He was like, I love you. You're my son. I didn't mean to like push you over the edge. And because at some point they had a conversation, like before the conversation that I'm talking about now, because TJ let him know, like, I heard you. You thought I was asleep, but I heard you call me weak and tell me that I need to toughen up and I shouldn't have folded under pressure or whatever the hell he said. And then the dad came back like to the conversation I'm talking about now. It's like, I know it doesn't seem like it, and you guys all see me as one way, but I love my family. I love my kids. I love all of y'all. Like, I'm trying to create a legacy and, be better for the family, but I love y'all. Please don't ever think I don't love you. And so it's kind of awkward for TJ to hear, and it's just like, I'm not ready to jump full force back in with y'all, but it's nice to hear. So, thank you for that. And come to find out that at some point, TJ actually took the bar, like, and he passed. So he has to have his ceremony where he's sworn in. And unbeknownst to him, Skylar and his daddy, Torrance Sr., they're actually going back and forth about who should be there with him. Because I guess you have a person there, like, as your witness, or who stands by as you're getting sworn in, something like that. And TJ is like, this is news to me because I wasn't going to tell nobody. So how they fighting over who should be there when actually neither one of them is going to be there? And, of course, like I said, Skylar feels like it should be her because they the best of friends in her mind, even though they're brother and sister, but it's like they're the closest. And Torrance Sr. is like, I birthed all of this shit. Like, he going into law because of me, and I'm his daddy. Like, I'm going to be the one that's going to be there. But Indy tells him, let both of them be there. And then he also invites her, like, yeah, you come on through too. Like, I want you there as well. And at some point, what was it? He went to the courthouse. It was something. And he ran into the ex. Now, the ex, I think she got married. She on her way to a divorce. But she see him and basically, she trying to spark something up. And he's like, you really didn't even have to speak to me. I didn't need you to say nothing to me. Um, and whatever happened is in the past, and we're never going to address that again. That's good and done. And so when Indy finds out about that, like, she feels a way about that because she was like, why wouldn't you tell me that your ex, you contacted your ex, or basically y'all had contact, is what she said. And he's like, I really didn't think about it. I wasn't trying to hide anything from you, but I honestly did not think about her at all. Um, and Indy's story a little bit, that ex that will not leave her alone, he's an addict. He's on drugs, and she's not allowing him to drag her down. So it's like, I'm not gonna stay with you or stay by your side while you going through that. And he's trying to guilt trip her, like, we promised to never leave each other, and look at you breaking your promise. It's like, yeah, look at what you're going through. If I don't want to subject myself to that, I don't have to. And I couldn't agree more, because it's like, and she did feel guilty a little bit. It's like, damn, I am leaving him. Maybe I should go back with him. But it's like, why? Well, he not gonna get help, and I'm not just gonna be by your side while you basically kill yourself. I don't have to watch you do that. I don't care what I promised you when I was a kid. Like, no. And so, what happened? I think Indy and TJ, yeah, they were together, and the boyfriend, I'm trying to remember how it went. So the Indy's ex-boyfriend shows up to the best friend's house, I think basically looking for her and demanding that the best friend call her. But when she says no, he shoots the best friend, basically blaming her for Indy breaking up with him and not having any contact with him. And then the fiance shoots him like a couple times, like, you shot my pregnant fiance. So at some point, Indy is at the hospital, um, waiting on her best friend because, like, she, of course, had to be rushed to surgery. Um, and they had to try to save the baby. And then, coincidentally, at the same time, Skylar went into labor. So, she about to have her baby. But TJ is at the jail because he's trying to get the excuse me, trying to get the fiance out. Excuse me, y'all. And of course, it's like, it's self defense, but they, like, police officers, they're not worrying about that at the time. It's like, both of y'all had guns, both of y'all shooting. You're arrested while the pregnant fiance, and the ex are in the hospital because they both got gunshot wounds. But TJ, like, when he gets the fiance out of jail, and then when he gets to the hospital, he tells Indy, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. So he makes a stop to the ex's, I was gonna say hotel room, Lord, hospital room, and tells him it would be in your best interest to leave my girl the fuck alone. Y'all not together no more. She don't owe you nothing. And the fact that you shot her best friend, trying to get to her, you better be glad that you even made it out alive. So it's just like, you might as well get ready to enjoy your time in prison because it's a wrap. And so he leaves her for a little while to go see his sister and see the baby, whoop de whoop. And, of course, she's feeling guilty. Like, I could have lost my best friend and y'all could have lost y'all baby. I'm so sorry. But the fiance is like, that's not your fault. Like, everybody around her, even the best friend, when she wakes up, because she thought she didn't even want her to be there. Because it's like, damn, I'm the reason you could have lost your life and lost your baby. And she's like, no, That was his decision. He came in there. He shot me. You didn't make him do that. That was him and his own fucked up mind that did that. So it's like, don't let that cloud your judgment. And it's like, when she apologized to the fiance told her the same thing. TJ told her the same thing. Um, and so TJ was trying to decide what he wanted to do because he's like, I'm definitely not working with dad. I'm not going into criminal law. So Skylar calls him to her office and is like, basically sign these contracts because you coming to work with me. Me, you, and Skylar gonna all work together, and we gonna have our own company. Basically, dad just gonna be on his own with his side of the criminal. And so he like, what? Skylar? I mean, Sailor leaving dad to come work over here? And it's like, yeah. So brothers and sisters gonna be working together. I was like, oh, that's cute. Um, and so he has to go to the center that he was working at and let the lady know that basically my time is about to be up soon. Which it was kind of awkward because the lady was feeling him on the low and always trying to flirt with him, but he had to let her know, no, ma'am, no, thank you, no ham, no turkey. And I think at the end it was they had like a fair where the kids got to meet some of the football players and stuff like that. So it's just like, I'm not leaving y'all high and dry, but I am moving on to different things. And of course, Indi is still working at the spa doing what she loves. And it's just like, we're happy. We're working towards something, and we're gonna be together while we figure out what it is. But I highly encourage y'all to go read it for yourselves. It was a great, nice little read. Like I said, another quick read because it wasn't too long. I think it was really just trying to show, like, yes, I attempted this. I have dark days. I go to therapy to try to work through it, and I'm still a human. So even though people look at you crazy after the fact or even treat you like you crazy or try to handle you with kid gloves, it's like, I'm still here and I'm working through it. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope to see you back next week for another book at a different time. Peace and blessings, my beautiful people.